Kampot-Kep provinces in southwest Cambodia are scenic coastal regions, attracting both tourists and investors from around the world. Each year, the region sees increasing activity in entertainment and investment sectors. In addition to the potential in tourism, agriculture has significantly boosted the reputation of Kampot-Kep. For example, durian and pepper are regional crops cultivated in the two provinces, and they are known for their exceptional quality, taste, and global recognition. Furthermore, these provinces are also renowned for their natural salt sourced from the Cambodian seawater and for their expertise in seawater boiling technique. Salt plays a vital role in the human body, serving not only as a flavor enhancer, but also as a source of essential minerals. Natural sea salt contains nearly 70 important minerals, with sodium comprising 33% of its composition. Sodium helps maintain the body's optimal acid-alkaline balance. 51% of salt comprises chlorine, which helps maintain the pH balance in cell fluid, contributing to the body's acid-alkaline balance as well. Other important minerals are found in the Cambodian natural salt: magnesium, calcium, iron, copper, zinc, and more than 20 other minerals. The salt production areas of Kampot-Kep benefit from mangrove forests, which help maintain high-quality seawater needed for making coarse salt and salt flour. There are three main types of salt produced in the region: coarse salt, salt flour collected from the top of the salt fields, and fine salt made by grinding coarse salt. Based on soil analysis conducted in the 7 production areas across the 2 provinces, it is evident that the cultivated fields predominantly consist of sandy loam soil. This type of soil significantly influences the distinctive qualities of Kampot-Kep salt. In 2022, the renowned French chef Alain Darc, the founder of Thalia's Hospitality Group, one of Cambodia's leading hospitality businesses, emphasized that Kampot-Kep salt is Cambodia's finest export, and the exceptional quality of the salt is, indeed, linked to its region of origin. The current salt production areas are located in Sangkat Mung Tuk in Bokor City, in Sangkat Trao Koch in Kampot City, in Chumkil Commune, Kandal Commune, Trapang Songkai Commune, Kansong Commune, Samrang Commune, and Trapang Pring Commune in Tapchu District, in Dosei Srokang Lake Commune and Svai Thong Kang Tbong Commune in Kampong Trak District in Kampot Province, in Sangkat Okrasa in Sangkat Kaib in Kep City, and finally in Angkau Commune in the Mnak Chang-A District in Kaib Province. In total, the salt production area in Kampot amounts to 3,888.41 hectares. There is currently no data available for Kep Province yet. According to the findings of the research on the origins and unique qualities of Kampot-Kep salts, salt production in Cambodia has a millennium-long history. Records and other evidence date back to the 7th century. Michael Vickery's research indicates that sea salt was imposed during King Jayavarman I's rule during the Chenla period. The boiling salt procedure is the beginning of salt production, with evidence indicating that it has been made in Cambodia since at least the 13th century. According to a text written in 1296 by the Mongol ambassador Su Dakwan and a text written by Mr. Cheng He in 1413 to 1415, the Khmer people produced salt by boiling seawater in many locations. And Kep Province confirmed that the salt dates back to the French colonial period, which lasted from 1863 until 1953. Which lasted from 1863 until 1953 after speaking with older manufacturers in Kampot. The boiling seawater method continued to be employed until the Sangkum Rieh Niyom era, 1954 to 1970. Following this period, producers shifted away from this technique and adopted the coarse salt instead. With coarse salt, we create fine salt, which resembles to boiling salt and is produced by farming and drying seawater on a field with sunlight. Through colonial-era records and information gathered from elderly residents of Kampot-Kep, salt producers in particular revealed that the initial salt production occurred at a historical site known as Bangrung, near Kampot-Kep. Bangrung is a natural lake near the two provinces. Every year in November and December, the water level is exceptionally high. As a result, the sea level may rise to the point where the water enters the natural lake. A portion of the sea remains in the lake when the tide recedes. Later on, in March and April, the seawater in those lakes progressively dries up, resulting in the lake's surface being covered in salt. The majority of Cambodians back then consumed basak salt, which had a very salty flavor and was black in appearance. This salt was brought in from the Mekong Delta region of Klang Province, now known as Kampot-Kep, and Basak Province. During World War II, in the 1940s, a group of Cambodian Chinese specialists covertly tested the salt manufacturing process by applying coarse salt production techniques from the Khmer region of Kampot-Kep to Kampot Province. Grandfather Chin, who introduced Kampot-Kep techniques in Kampot, produced salt in Kampot until 1946. He has been producing boiling salt in Kampong Nong village for a while, and he is the only one who knows how to really organize salt crops. After that, salt production in the region began in 1948 in the two provinces. This is the first official method of producing salt in Cambodia, and it is being done by grandfather Li Heng at Bangrung in Chumkil commune in Kampot district. In 1945, the amount of salt produced was less than 10,000 tons annually, with domestic consumption of approximately 16,000 tons to 17,000 tons annually. Next, let's explore the main methods used to produce the three types of salt mentioned earlier: coarse salt, salt flour, and fine salt. During the production, it's crucial for salt producers to ensure that the fields and water systems are clean, free from plastic waste and machine oil. The initial 4 steps in producing Kampot-Kep salts are identical across all 3 types of salt. The first step consists in setting up the irrigation and canal system, removing mosses from the nurse salt fields, and leveling the land surface of the salt fields. The second step is a seawater catchment step. Seawater is blocked in basins. Then the seawater enters the salt fields when the sea level is high. If there's not enough water, the water system is used to pump the seawater in the fields. The third step involves draining and drying the seawater. Seawater is poured into the salt fields and left to evaporate in the sun. This process is repeated several times to increase the salt concentration. Typically, there are 4 to 6 interconnected salt fields. In the fourth step, we assess the quality of seawater and begin salt production. Once the water has dried in the fields and reaches a concentration of at least 18 bome, it is drained from the fields. The ground is then compacted. After that, water with a salinity of at least 20 bome is added to the fields to initiate salt production. The process for making coarse salt and salt flours follows the same 4 steps mentioned earlier. The fifth step decides which type of salt we want to make. For producing coarse salt, the fifth step involves ensuring the seawater concentration in the dry fields reaches at least 20 bome. Then the water is the nurse salt pans and left there for at least 4 days. Gradually, crystal-shaped salt will begin to form in the nurse pans, indicating it's ready for harvesting. Harvesting coarse salt continues throughout the salt harvest season, typically from January to May. Harvesting can be done with tools called knaw or is done by hand. For producing salt flour, the fifth step involves following the techniques used for coarse salt production until coarse salt starts to appear in the nurse salt pans. Once the coarse salt is visible, seawater is added to the nurse salt pans until the water reaches a depth of 2.5 to 3 centimeters. Salt flour can be harvested daily when it floats on the water surface. Harvesting salt flour is done using a kentrong, basket in Khmer, and by hand. This process can be carried out from January to May as well. For producing fine salt, the fifth step involves using coarse salt and grinding it. This type of salt can be produced throughout the entire year. All materials used must be hygienic and meet food safety regulations. Salt storage is strictly for storing salt only. The roof and walls must be kept clean and hygienic at all times to protect the salt from dust from outside. For packaging, only new packaging materials should be used to pack the salt. The packaging must be suitable for food use and should not react when in contact with the salt. Each employee at the Kampot-Kep salt production facilities must adhere to hygiene practices. During transportation, cleanliness and hygiene are crucial, especially to prevent mixing salt with other products to avoid contamination. The Salt Producers Association in Kampot-Kep province was formed by salt producers from the two provinces. They are officially registered with the Ministry of Interior under number 2455, dated April 20, 2023. Additionally, they have registered their intellectual property rights or GI with the Ministry of Commerce under number KHGI 0000923. All producers must join the association to apply for evaluation and official registration to produce any type of salt. All producers must report their production output, including the area and volume of production. The association will check to ensure these meet the membership requirements. The site of production, the kind of soil, the method of production, the packaging, everything will be analyzed and evaluated. A commitment contract and a minimum of 1 year examination are required before the producers can be officially recognized as a member of the association. Documents such as statutes, affiliations, contracts, and more must be well kept by all salt producers. In May 2024, the Kampot-Kep Association of Salt Producers received applications from 13 production teams and 4 packaging enterprises, which include Tung Enterprise, Etching Oheng, Food Production of Kampot, and La Plantation. The Association of Salt Producers manufactures 3 varieties of salts: coarse salt, fine salts, and salt flours. However, in the future, there will be more variety of salt produced. Despite the Kampot-Kep Salt Producers Association's products meeting international standards, they still encounter some issues with salt imported from abroad. In Cambodia, the salt produced in Kampot-Kep is relatively unknown. Currently, the Cambodian market has an excess of imported salt, with some varieties closely resembling the salt from Kampot-Kep. In addition to that, some imported salt does not currently meet the required standards. Salt farms in Kampot province stated that the hot weather causes the salt fields to dry quickly, resulting in a bigger salt yield this year. However, salt farmers continue to complain that the price of salt remains low due to imports from outside, particularly from Vietnam and Thailand. Mr. Bun Naden, who owns Tong Enterprise in Kampot and serves as president of the Association of Geographical Indication Kampot-Kep Salt Producers, expressed confidence in Kampot-Kep salt. He stated, "It is a source of pride for Kampot-Kep to expand our GI product range. Salt and pepper represent a collaborative effort. Currently, there is good progress in printing, packaging, and sharing cultivation techniques with farmers and stakeholders. Please keep in mind that all salt products produced in Cambodia's Kampot-Kep provinces are always labeled with the emblem of the Association of Geographical Indication Kampot-Kep Salt Producers on the front of the packaging.